Welcome back to the stage in Wuhan for this match between SKT and C9. Going into today, these two teams were considered the favorites to advance from Group A. And 3 games later, everything's changed. They're both in peril, they're in danger, and here they have to go up against one another. The group is wide open.
They're still in the lead, though, so there's still definite hope for North America.
Is that all?
I mean,
that's it. That's all we get.
Barely, there's some hope. They're like tied now with
When's the last time
other teams.
we said there's hope against North America playing SKT?
Oh, yeah, right? Exactly. That's a scary thought. Here's a refresher on the standings just so you can keep track of it at home. It's important to note SKT secure play, or rather knockout stages with a victory. C9 must win this if they want to challenge for first place. But when it comes to this matchup specifically, Blank is being subbed in for Peanut. So Crumbs, what's the deal with that?
All right, so Blank has usually been coming in as the guy that reads the other junglers, that he understands what's been going on, and so he can create a game plan and use that. Unfortunately, this split, Blank has not been the starter, but he has come in so many times because of Peanut's faults that he has an 18-0, or had an 18-0 win streak. However, for every Blank man, there is a Robin, and that's Untara, and he's not here. He hasn't played that much with Huni, and so the synergy between these two might just not be there. So while it might be a refreshing sign for SKT fans and kind of terror for NA, that might not be enough to shore up what SKT has been just dropping everywhere.
And it'll be really interesting to see how he's going to perform because we haven't seen him for a while. It's his first actual appearance in the group stage, and Contracts has been good in the early game for Cloud9. So I'm very excited to see, is it going to be an early game plan for SKT? Is he coming in to get proactive, or are they just looking for another defensive kind of ward bot?
And let's not forget that the last time that Cloud9 ran headfirst into SKT, it was their most dominant victory because Faker just took 1v3 and had some incredible Cassiopeia outplays. So I'd like to see a shift of gears and more of that focus on Contracts as opposed to Jinsen for Cloud9 to shake it up.
The rookie versus the sub could be the key matchup in this one. That'll do it for us here. Here's the casters to take you through the action.
Thank you very much, Dash, and it is time to get ourselves into the action. My name, David Freak Turley, joined here by Sam, Kobe, Hartman-Kensler, and Martin DeFicio Lunga. This is going to be fun, isn't it?
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. Like, again, I'm no horse in this race here, so I'm just here to enjoy the games and see if C9 can do anything against SKT.
Yeah, SKT, of course, the analyst has mentioned it. If they do win here, the Korean powerhouse, if they get the win, they not only secure quarterfinals, they secure the #1 spot out of the group as well. No one could match them at 4 wins, so that would be #1 guaranteed.
And despite SKT dropping a game earlier, let me remind you that they are 3-0 versus Cloud9 at Worlds all time. They have always had a pretty easy time versus this team, so it doesn't look that good in this particular game for C9. The last game that was actually here at Worlds this year was an ill-fated dive around mid lane. DeFicio,
Yeah.
I know you really liked that one.
I mean, the thing about SKT versus C9 is that we know C9 wants to get Jensen ahead, but he's facing Faker in that mid lane, and Faker is the kind of player who can handle the pressure, at least fairly often. We have seen a few times, both at MSI, also at Worlds, where Faker would drop down to a few early ganks, but you got to execute them correctly. C9 didn't do that the last time. It needs to be changed for this one.
It definitely looked a little forced last time.
It was, and of course it did come down to extremely strong mechanical outplays from SKT to make that happen, but it still remains to be seen what can Cloud9 do. They didn't seem to get much out of their mid laner in Jensen in the previous game. We'll see if anything else comes out of it this one as we are into the beginnings of picks and bans. LeBlanc off the table. Kalista, no surprise here to be banned. First round red side by SKT.
Obviously, LeBlanc is a pick that both mid laners actually would like to play, but C9 really respecting that Faker could grab it here for himself in that first phase just before you start banning away 2 of the counter picks going into the second phase, and that's why they remove it so early on in the draft.
Both Jarvan and the double Ardent Sensor supports are available right now as well. So the last bans here are actually going to be interesting to see what we trade.
And you've also got all the allowed to be picked marksmen up for the bot lane as well. Of course, we know Kalista's gone every single game, but the other sort of big 4 are around.
Yeah, and we have actually seen Jarvan being left open quite a lot recently, despite him being picked in every single game when he's there early because he's so impactful. You can flex him to the top lane as well. And when there's Janna and Lulu, some teams like to just first pick the Jarvan and then trade the 2 supports anyway, despite Janna actually being the better one against the Jarvan. You kind of take that risk.
That being said, Cloud9 is one of the teams where, Contracts has this different jungle pool, and he's played a lot of these offensive carry junglers. You can build Jarvan with warriors as well, so they could still decide to go with that and slap a warrior on Jarvan.
Looks like SKT going to add that to the Galio ban, and this Gianna pick I think is very likely. This time around they banned the Kog'Maw, so the Kog Lulu duo's not available. It's one of the things that they were so afraid of when they played Edward Gaming earlier, which is why they had picked the champion then. So that duo at least off the table for Bang and Wolf.
Yeah, you can still play Lulu Twitch, which we just saw in the last game. You can just grab the Twitch here together with a Jarvan and then take the Lulu in the next rotation. For SKT, if they want to have Bang on that late game champion, there's of course still Tristana there and Bowers, who's also been picked so often.
Yeah, we've seen SKT have success around Bang before. The extra speed from Lulu is why people really, especially at the beginning of groups, feared this pick when compared to the Janna, which is going to be more of an AoE reset and team-wide protection.
And Jarvan actually not being looked at just yet by SKT. Again, we know the Graves pick is something C9 likes against it. We know Janna is a good pick against Jarvan as well. It might be enough to actually sway SKT away from it. Oh. And just when we say it, they do decide to lock it in. And I think this is the correct choice. When Jarvan is available, you take him.
Yeah, I mean, he just offers so much versatility. In Champ Select, you can flex him. He could be top lane or jungle. Plus, in the actual game, you have options to go in as well as out.
It's also interesting watching SKT's draft. They are prioritizing reaction over priority. There was no rush in grabbing the Lulu. You're going to get that 100% of the time if you want it, but they want to wait to see what's in the composition before they pick what you assume to be the bot lane carry here. Double marksman coming through, the Ezreal again for contract, and the Xayah in for sneaky.
And you got to respect that, you know, taking the Ezreal, the snowballing jungler against SKT, saying we can outplay them in the early game, we can get this jungler ahead. We know that Jarvan, he's fine just going to the late game. He doesn't need to do anything early.
Yeah, the North American junglers, once they got here to Worlds, have been really infatuated with this Ezreal pick. Smithy picking a bunch as well. It definitely is risky, but it gives you that jump start to the game. You know, where is Ezreal going to start? He can actually start on an enemy red buff or something like that and immediately get into counter jungling. SKT, though, the classic weather the storm and turn it around later.
We talked about the Twitch coming in from SKT. Now the Kog'Maw here was banned away, so no big surprise. With the AD carry pick, I just want to see bans now, because typically when you're matching all the roles in the first phase, you either target purely top lane or purely mid lane. We've seen a lot of like double mid lane bans coming in, and then you
pick one right away.
Yeah, then you pick one right away, and you have a good matchup guaranteed for your Syndra, your Ryze, whichever one it is. We tend to see as a blind pick, but it is Shen first being removed, and junglers actually from C9, because the Jarvan, of course, can go up to top lane.
And it's specifically the counter picks to the Ezreal. They've shown their own jungler here, causing, of course, a very big pick into it, which is why that ban is in.
And I do like these bans from SKT, because Cloud9 have already showed that they're trying to go with one of those earlier styles at Snowball, and people have been very critical of Shen, but Impact has been one of the players to really perform on this champion and use it very early and proactively, so you kind of remove some of the power from the early game there.
And the Trundle ban sets up for a potential Cho'Gath or Maokai top lane as an early blind pick, and then you can last pick for Faker if you want to here on the side of SKT to try and give him a good matchup against Jensen. There's also the Flex Jace, obviously.
That's why people are okay with kind of leaving up Maokai a lot of the time, is because you can pick a lot of champions into the Maokai to bully him if you show that pick too early.
We'll see what comes through from Impact then, because Cloud9 need to lock in their solo lanes here against this Flex Jace and the Flex Jarvan. You never know what it's going to be exactly. Syndra might be the first blind, but still wait to see what Impact's going to pick.
And if it's going to be a mid lane Jace, we almost need to see Rumble come in from Huni to add some AP damage, and C9 should obviously know that as well, and can lock in a top laner who would do fine against a potential Rumble. But of course you gotta respect that Jace can just go top lane.
Salute to Europe here with the
Yasuo. Yeah, that Yasuo, that didn't happen. Actually,
it went 1-1.
It gave NA their first win in week 2, actually.
Yeah. Shout out to Europe giving us one win. Maybe it's the only one. We'll see what happens. Maokai, not a huge surprise coming in for Impact. You expect that with everything else on the table. Now the last pick through for SKT, and it's Fizz in the mid lane.
So part of the reason you can still go with the Maokai into a Jace pick is because of this Ezreal jungle that you have on your side. So there is a possibility Cloud9 try and protect Impact early on with the Maokai, try and get him up to the point where he gets Bramble Vest. Then you get to use your auto to heal up, and the Jace has less of an easy time of bullying you.
I also really like the gank setup he brings. Again, it's a point-and-click snare, so if this Jace is just blindly pushing you down and the jungler shows up, or a mid lane roam, it's so easy to lock down Jace and just set it up for an easy kill.
And those have been, you know, some of the criticisms of Huni in the regular season.
Oh, yeah.
Were, you know, pushing up like that, and part of the reasons we saw so much Untara was that Untara was not the one to expose himself in those situations.
We'll see what happens here. SKT versus Cloud9. Both teams coming in with a lost beginning of the day. Both these teams, though, expected to have made it out of the group stage based on week 1 results, but week 2 is where it really comes down to. Every gaming
coming
2
for
straight.
you.
Exactly, they are, and none of these teams are safe. We'll see what happens. The coaches shake hands for what could be the last time of the World Championship here. Lineups on your screen one more time. Cloud9 representing North America, the last hope here in the region. North America 1-8 so far in week 2, hoping it won't be 1-10 at the end of it all. SK Telecom T1 reigning world champions. They did not win in Korea. That was Longju's honor, but SKT still a phenomenal team. And we'll see if they can win it here and lock down that first seed. So we take a look at the beautiful crowd here in Wuhan, getting ready for our game.
It's always a scary thing with SKT, even when you feel like they've had a...
Here we are onto the Rift, ladies and gentlemen. Cloud9 versus SK Telecom T1. North America versus South Korea. And the Korean squad, SKT, could secure the third and final Korean team into the top 8. They take the first seed out of this group. One of the bosses of the quarterfinals. Cloud9 hoping to look good. They actually have a chance of taking #1 themselves. They can win here and again later on in the day.
I actually kind of like this invade here. C9 are going to get deep wards on the top side of the map, while SKT get deep wards on the bottom side. Seeing a Fizz and a Jace as your solo laners with a Jarvan would make you think that Blank would want to play around the top triangle of the map. Basically, junglers early on would want to choose one of those two sides for their early presence. And Faker and Huni are definitely two that would benefit.
Let's talk more about Blank specifically, because I'm actually very happy to see him play now after Peanut's not been doing a whole lot in the last few games for SKT, not been very active in the early game. Been somewhat the same story also in the LCK summer split, where he's no longer that all-in aggressive jungler. He's actually trying to be much more passive. I feel like Blank is now the guy with the better early game. He's much more proactive. He loves to invade and coordinate with Faker, and that's something I want to see here.
Yeah, we definitely have to go over the difference in Blank this year compared to people who remember Blank on SKT last year and him being the sub, him kind of being backup. Blank has been outstanding for the team this time around. Now they're going to start out with this red invade for him, and he should be able to secure this buff unless that Twitch poison is going to take it, which...
It's pretty easy to actually calculate the numbers on your attacks anyway and be fine. Context, of course, in a very similar boat. It's going to smite red to be sure he's safe. Blank did save his summoner, burns it here on the rafters.
Yeah, Faker should be expecting this. He actually takes a decent trade out from Contracts.
And look at that, and that's 400 health off right there. That's kind of what he wanted. Faker, of course, knew that was a red start, lost 400 health without chugging the right side of the map.
All right, Blank actually changes his mind here. Doesn't go bottom. He's going to go mid to try and punish Jensen.
All right, here we go. Jensen playing pretty far up. Level 1 still for Faker. Level 2 for Jensen. Does not go for the flash for the knockup just yet. He's going to walk back. Contract is here as well. So I'm going to be dodged out by Playful Trickster. And no harm, no foul towards North America.
Jensen keeping it very cool, knowing his own jungler is around. And again, it's a level 1 Fizz. You're not really too afraid of that potential all-in.
Contracts over here chasing behind Blank. I want to make sure he didn't sweep back into the river, by the way, for another repeat gank. I think a lot of this, as we said before, top triangle of the map, very important and can be influenced quickly.
Yeah, and he got to check his own blue buff because Blank could have technically gone straight towards it and grabbed it. Contract's checking around as well. Now he sees Blank is actually walking through the front door.
Yeah, once you get full vision, then Ezreal does have the advantage with the extra range here. Red buff slow is applied.
And no mana for the Arcane Shift cooldown either. Worth pointing out, actually, both these junglers low on mana because they went machete starts and haven't gotten their blue buffs yet. So not a lot of spells available. Blank going to run down to his blue side. Of course, he's got his smite up. Shouldn't be a problem. Contract similar.
Yeah, small win for Contracts here. I love the start. Both junglers around mid lane, trading with each other. Contracts, he's back in the mid lane.
I mean, he's going to contest the other blue buff here. Like we said, this Ezreal jumpstarts your early game, and he doesn't want to let Blank get any time to get any sort of ganks off here. So he goes blue to blue, cross right over.
And we also have right now Smoothie able to actually move from the bottom lane because they pushed SKT all the way to the tower. So Contracts is feeling very safe.
Yeah, very smart play from Contract so far. Again, knew Blank didn't have the resources to take the wolves very easily. This blue should be smiteable without a problem.
And as we talked about Blank here and going over him, the differences from last year, Contracts is a guy, he was nowhere near Worlds last year. This guy is very new to the stage, and he's been performing with a lot of confidence here in group stage, which is definitely admirable for one of these newer players on this big stage, especially from the jungle position. That is incredibly important.
Incredibly team dependent. I mean, Contract this time last year is ending his Challenger Series 1 with Cloud9 Challenger. They qualified in. He got promoted to the main squad Challenger. C9C became FlyQuest, as we all saw. And yeah, Contract has done very well with his new team.
And one of the things I love is he's a homegrown talent. So he's super valuable for an organization like C9, who already sits with Jensen and Impact as imports here. The fact you have now a jungler where you don't have to worry about taking up any slots or anything. He's just going to be there on this team in North America and be super valuable the next few years as well.
And right now, it looks like they're actually saving this blue buff for the next time that Jensen would come back out to lane, so he'll have maximum time with it. Not quite sure if Contracts will actually take it or if he's waiting to hand that one off. Well, maybe he is actually going to take it for himself for the extra experience boost before he returns.
See what happens right now. Both mid lane with level 5 right here. 3 for both the junglers. Blue doesn't look like a handoff. He's pushing it down pretty fast, so Jensen will not have this for his first run through the mid lane. Maybe the second one gets stolen. We'll see what happens.
Let's talk about the Jace in the top lane as well here from SKT. It's been a pick. We've seen quite a few teams, you know, pick now and not be too successful on it. Up in the top lane, TSM yesterday, HQ just before this one. You need to make sure this Jace can play aggressive in the early game. You need to play around him as a jungler, especially with vision, so you can bully out this Maokai.
And actually, even if you don't go there as a jungler, if you disallow the other jungler from interfering, then Jace is just going to take his toll in the Maokai, right? We've already seen Huni bullying Impact so much that he had to recall and use his teleport before the Bramble vest purchase, which is really kind of the key breakpoint there. Yeah. If your jungler allows you to get it, then it's really helpful. But you know, the 2 cloth armors there is going to mean that next time Impact goes back, should be able to grab it.
And this game as well with a Jace, you can for sure just go straight for Ghostblade because you're going to do so much damage to 4 of the 5 members on C9. There'll be very little armor stacked on everyone except for Impact specifically. And if he does go for Ghostblade, it's because he's saying, I don't need to just purely win my lane. I also need to join my team in the mid game and then provide some serious DPS.
Right here, fighting the bot lane right there. Fang does get rooted up. Nice little trade there by Sneaky. +6 right now for the Cloud9 duo, doing pretty well for themselves against one of the world's very best duo lanes. The stun coming through as well. This Shark comes through onto Jensen. Here comes the fight into the mid lane. Blink to join at level 4. Contract the same. Out goes Faker. Blink going to do a bit of damage, but it's going to be the minions dying to the turret.
And Contract shows early in this just to try and get some DPS out. They're just trying to have that pressure down bottom, though. Sneaky on the run.
Wow, somebody who'll use just to be safe about this one now. Wolf's got to be careful. No, Blade Caller just yet gets to walk away cleanly enough. Sneaky, of course, out of mana. Can't do much more with that one. Right now, gold +200 for Cloud9 in the early landing phase.
Ooh, Wolf and the rest of SKT's bottom side might look for a kill on Sneaky, or at least trying to force a flash. Wolf trying to position very aggressively. Still have some mana. Sneaky low on mana, low on HP.
Yeah, only flashes for this bot lane. The rest of the summoners are all on cooldown for both sides here, and Bang, certainly more resources than Sneaky.
Now this early game reminds me a bit of last week when C9 played SKT and Contracts tried to put a lot of time around the mid lane. But in this game here, he's not gone over-aggressive. He's not actually just flash straight onto Faker and try and force a play. He's just been constantly walking in and poking Faker and making sure that it's Jensen controlling the lane. It's a really good start for C9 to get the upper hand here.
See, the late game looks good on this one. Another look towards the mid lane from Contracts. Isn't keeping his jungle dead all the time, but both jungles level 5. It's not too big of an issue. Looking at the toll in top lane, +10 CS, and the first level 7 is Huni. He's actually got himself a Fairy Charm in inventory. It's not necessarily going to be a tier build. It might just be for the mana regen, and he'll sell it later, but we almost never see tier Jace anymore, so interesting to see that at all.
While this time that Contract is spinning around mid as well is, you know, affording Jensen the power to punish in this lane and know that there isn't going to be that case of the double level 6 jungle and mid all in. However, it is costing Contract some gold in the jungle. Blank is actually ahead, both in gold and experience slightly. Now that Jensen knows he doesn't have Contracts next to him though, hovering by his vision on the bottom side, those control wards, is your safety area. They did also see Blank here going up towards the scuttle. Should be fine.
And as you mentioned earlier as well, Kobe, Blank doesn't need to gank the lane up in the top lane for Huni to win. He just needs to constantly make sure he knows where enemy jungler is and there's a bit of vision down for the Jason. It's been happening in this game here. No one has gone top lane really to do anything.
However, I don't think this lead is big enough for what you expect in Jace versus Maokai. +8 is pretty small what you expect for the matchup. +15 feels more average for the state of the game.
I think for Huni, it's not necessarily about getting, you know, the biggest CS lead possible. It's can he get a bit of damage on tower? And can he then actually get Impact down to about 50% HP? And they can coordinate a tower dive then with the Java and with the Fist and take the tower in just one turn. I see this quite often with these lanes where it's all about just having control and then poke slightly and wait for the big tower dive and then you take the objective.
See if it comes in here. 1 minion lost to the turret. A couple autos jump through when he wants it. Still getting poke onto Impact. And as you mentioned, down to about 3/4 here. Maybe needs a little bit more onto him.
Slow and steady.
Yeah. And you can see as the lane resets at +9. Again, that's the lead right now on a lane reset. See what comes in next.
The other thing to look out for in that matchup is that when Jace keeps up this pressure, usually the team will make a conscious decision of either we would rather save turret health and have Maokai teleport back to that lane to keep up with the pressure. Well, bottom side though.
And he misses the root. Sneaky's got to be careful. He's got to, no, doesn't even get to do anything about it. Barrier was up, but the Contaminate came through first. Blood in for Bang. SKT's bot lane off well.
And you can actually see that Contaminate projectile coming towards you. There is time to barrier as it comes towards you. So Sneaky probably decided that it wasn't going to kill him or just didn't react in time.
I'm pretty sure even your ultimate could do something as well. Short range Shark comes through, gets the knockup. But look at that damage to Jensen. Dunk comes through, flashes it though, and the barrier's going to block none of the damage. Fake gets the kill to the mid lane. SKT 2-0.
It all starts with one mistake from C9 around that blue buff where suddenly Sneaky is caught out alone. He dies, and instantly you see the Lulu move to the mid lane, joined by the jungler, and Faker knows he can all in now.
Thing to watch is how quickly SKT punish here. Blank even going in for this blue buff. He does have his smite, so while Impact is trying to stop him, going to be able to smite that away no problem.
Not a chance there on that one. So a buff going away. SKT gets revenge for the earlier blue buff. And look at this now, Huni getting that damage on the turret. Done a half already.
All right, let's see it again here. So Sneaky's alone. Smoothie's up here with Jensen and Contracts. And SKT's bot lane just surprised Sneaky completely.
Yeah, and that's the key. The support right next to Bang there. So he gets the extra bonuses from Lulu. And Sneaky just gets annihilated very quickly.
Ultra ult in the bot lane, going to be wave clear, and Bang still feels pretty good about this one. BF Sword plus Zeal in there. They've got a different sort of build for him, not doing quite the same Hurricane Rush, getting something else in the inventory, but Huni still putting damage on it at Impact.
This is the slow and steady poking towards both Impact and the tower we mentioned before here. He actually did complete the tier as well on this Jace, so want to go for even more siege potential where he can actually land a few more big shock blasts before he runs out of mana.
And that thing is going to provide so much value, even when he has to join the rest of the team. Faker gets ulted.
Nice flap gets away from the stuns though, but he's still out of abilities to get away from things. No more CC to land. Faker gets away pretty cleanly. Down in CS, but that kill means he's winning this game.
Towards the later stage of the game, if we return to this Jace, he's going to be aiming just to get any shock blast past the Maokai, because while Janna's shields
get it past the goalkeeper.
Exactly, are great. If he is able to land that goal and hit anyone behind, it's very difficult for them to sustain it back up. She'll try and put an Ardent, buff on someone, but there will have to be things to auto attack around.
And right now we're seeing full control when it comes to vision. This minimap here, it's all red at the moment, and SKT are just in the jungle of C9. Contracts needs to face check now.
Melee range, knockup's gonna be there. This could be enough to kill off Contracts. It's a shield in there for this one. It's Smoothie waiting to cast the ultimate. It's a force flash out of Blank. Now, is there gonna be a chase for Jensen? His ulti, of course, still down from the damage to Faker. Blank getting low, True Shot Barrage to land. Out into the Dragon, but he's gonna be fine.
I mean, maybe there was a possibility there of Smoothie using the ultimate to heal Contracts and try and knock Blank, closer to the team, a little bit deeper for a play, but they hold on to some of the cooldowns. This Dragon is definitely still a possibility, and they do force Blank back to the jungle.
Very important defense from C9. They're winning that little skirmish here. No kill, but the fact you can actually go in and at least put down a few of your own wards, so it's not just completely red, and SKT can just set up a bot lane tower dive with Faker's teleport at the same time. That is kind of stopped, at least for now. Buys a bit more time for Cloud9, but man, they are under so much pressure against this double TP and just having no real lane they can play around at the moment.
SKT have so many options right now. The whittling down of this top turret you're talking about, Officio, is becoming a reality. Faker's teleport on Fizz is available, and he's almost to that level 11 point where you become very, very scared of that ult combo.
Maybe if they can bait Faker to go aggressive here, they can actually try and kill him and get some damage on the mid lane tower. Mid lane seems to be the easiest lane for him to go towards. Faker, though, is not using his defensive abilities. He's only just dashing forward, ready to always jump back towards the tower.
That is the important thing. If Jensen's in range, they don't know if Contract is there or not. He never hits the playful trickster, only when the mid laner's out of range of him. Another trade on the top lane. Impact going to give it lower, and we're seeing the junglers move to that side as well. Trade's beginning. Blank's going to be just first to play, but Contract right behind. Here comes the battle. 2-1-2 back, forced to run. The flash coming around. He's going to get back away over the cats. But here comes Fizz. He's going to be in range. The Shark is going to land. He's going to chomp down, and Maokai is dead. Faker with a second kill of the game.
That Faker teleport we talked about doesn't even have to be level 11. Gonna land that with a level 1 ult and secure the kill onto Impact. Here comes Contracts to try and delay some backs, but he's really just trying to get a little bit of time for Jensen to push up, and it is a bit of a dangerous game.
1 versus 3. He chased in, and Faker's behind him. The damage certainly going to be there. You have to expect the ulti coming across, but he burns the flash for nothing. Blanks back in and turns the health bar to just that.
We've seen this a few times now. Actually, wait for it, bot lane.
2-on-2 this time around. They know the junglers aren't available, but Huni could TP in a little bit. Smoothie getting out of HP. Sports to flash away, but is out of summoners now. Only the flash and the barrier for Sneaky getting away, but SKT getting the better of that fight.
Jensen is on the way. There's no TPs right now from SKT. He's moving in here behind the tower.
Huni, let's see where the rest of the squad is going. Jensen here has the ultimate, has zone barrier, looks for Wolf for some damage, looking for the stun's gonna get that. Sneaky's in the fight as well, and Wolf should be dying the first.
Huni's coming
for Cloud9. Huni coming around the side, shock blast gonna land, nearly kills out Smoothie. That turret is low. SKT Force already has gotten the first for themselves. The rest of the squad is here. Blank joining in, gets guilty across Impact, actually pulling in tower aggro as well. He's in 1v3, nearly has a kill, and they do. Jensen finds the stun, and Impact survives against his old team as well.
Very important, Cloud9 gets a few kills and a bot lane tower here. They had a few fights mid and top lane, didn't go their favor, but down in the bottom lane. Nice roam from Jensen. And then we gotta remember when Huni joined, he sits right there with some CDR and a tier, not pure damage, so he couldn't actually one-shot Smoothie.
Yeah, and Impact here with the Righteous Glory plus Ninja Tabi was already fairly well equipped to sustain a lot of the damage that was coming from the bottom side. You know, Twitch and Jarvan and Jace all hitting him. He's got pretty much perfect itemization to tank that under the turret, uses Twisted Advance to dodge a turret shot, and that's why he survived so long, even in that Cataclysm.
So let's see the trade in the bot lane as well. Plus TP coming in for the tower dive. Jensen uses ult early to guarantee landing the stun right after. Not really possible for Wolf to escape after all these balls are already on the ground. And here you see the damage from Huni just not being enough with his current build to actually secure the kill. Right back into action. Sneaky almost dying.
Yeah, the barrier used. Makes it dangerous. Of course, he's got Essence Reaver, he's got the Zerg Greaves as well, but not extra magic resist. This Fizz can be scary. He's got the Proto Belt off cooldown. Ready to go, Faker. 5 stacks in the Dark Seal. Is going to be scary. Bang into the mid lane. Ulti pop. Looks for Jensen. Better damage here, but a big stun gets him out. No major pain used here on this one. True shot barrage across.
Impact is coming down the river, but SKT see him. So SKT only have to respect the area that Maokai is in, because all the other members of Cloud9 are very squishy right now, and SKT have so many assassins, they can jump on those members. But wherever Impact is where C9 should be trying to play around.
We do see it's, of course, 1 tank per team. Impact, the 1 tanky member on his squad, and it is Cinder Hulk Jarvan out of Blank. Makes sense, of course. Everyone else is ranged, or at least squishy on his squad. Good enter the siege right now by Cloud9. Blank feeling frontliner. He's not going in. His Q is on cooldown, which means there is no threat, and Cloud9 get the mid lane down.
And I really like the fact that we have a game now with so many squishy champions. We don't have these like 6 tanks in the game where no one will die. It's actually so many guys who can get bursted down very quickly.
That really emphasizes the skill shots hitting here. The landing of your crowd control can mean instant death for one of these guys. And the reactions we already talked about. Oh, here we go, Impact.
Reaction to the top lane, plenty damage onto Huni, who is not tanky by any means. He goes down. Impact finds the kill.
Jensen, smart, playing around Impact, who sets this all up. He can stand in front of the Jace, soak that shock blast. They easily 2v1 that kill on the former North American LCS player.
And just a few minutes ago, we had 3 to 4 kills for SKT. They got first top lane tower as well. It looked really bad for Cloud9 after some poor decisions.
Oh, Sneaky.
Bot lane.
Look at damage onto Sneaky, getting his health bar dropped down a little bit. Blakely not going to land. Bank kites away from that one. Look at the damage output. 110 HP left. That is a Xayah who has to recall.
No barrier this time here, but as I was just saying before here, SKT, after getting that lead, have now actually been outplayed by C9. Down the bot lane especially, where we got the kills and the tower. That was huge for Cloud9.
It was. SKT are about to get some more going here with the bottom turret, though, and some more territory. Look at the wards on the map. SK Telecom completely warding up this bottom half of the map of C9, so they have the freedom to move around. They can take the bottom turret. They can take the Cloud Drake, and it makes it very, very scary for C9 to enter even their own territory.
All right, so we got some outer turrets down. Very even in gold at the moment. We just talked about how there are a lot of squishy members in this game, so the burst damage from a Cinder is going to be super valuable, and that's something Jensen can use to carry this game.
Currently, looks like 1 Cloud9 ward on the map, down in the bottom by the river. Other than that, they're checking all the brush with their skill shots. They're just cautiously moving up.
Okay, as many wards as wins for North America in Week 2.
Hey, they got 2 down there!
Oh, they might win this game then!
No,
it's
they've
a
got
signal.
2 wins! It's amazing. We'll see what happens here. It's a important things to come. 700 gold difference. A Smoothie. Get a killer control ward. And with it, the hopes and dreams of SKT, quite obviously. Here comes the fight into the soft side of the river, though. Impact and Huni doing battle. Bang waiting around, but no ult to pop because no one worth attacking yet in range. Wouldn't kill Impact with this build just yet. He's been able to get a lot of armor for himself in the Maokai.
And I'm actually quite sad that Huni is gone for this build that's very specifically focused around winning against Impact with Black Cleaver to shred his armor and tier, so you have enough mana to, you know, keep spamming your abilities. I really like, actually, my Contract's dying.
Knockup is there. The Shark didn't quite land, but the Wild Growth is a lot. Contract now back to his team. He's got the shields. Vigor pushed away. Looking for more in the backline. Jensen on the chase. Look at the damage up and out of Twitch, but Contract stays up there as well. Another re-engage towards Bang. Barry going to time out. Force the team forced to run away. The kill did come through, though. Huni found the snipe onto Contracts on the side of it all.
Yeah, Huni from the back there is able to kill him after C9 did so much to get Contracts out of that fight. That was so close because Impact wasn't there to block any of the damage. Now C9 pushing up mid though, and Huni is pushing on the top lane. He should make quick work of that turret.
It's Faker TPing in here towards the mid lane.
Comes forward, knows he has no ultimate available. Top lane tier 2 falls thanks to Huni's split push mid lane. The wave is gone. The turret's about 1/3 though.
Yep, Huni able to take his toll down there, and now Cloud9 have to respect the extra. Oh, Faker!
The extra Faker?
The damage is not really going to be that high, even though there's no magic at all out of Jensen. He's got the teammates around him.
Oh, there's only one Faker, no extra Faker, and Sneaky's got to get a little bit of damage on the way out.
We've gotten so used to these really slow early to mid games where everyone's just farming and we have like 30 minutes to talk about whatever we want. But in this game here, whenever we bring up a point, another fight is just starting. This is towards mid lane. Contracts is so aggressive, standing right in front of multiple SKT members.
Look how important that crowd control abilities are. Smoothie's able to save Contracts here with the ultimate as well. The knockup and Sneaky goes offensive on Bang to force them out. But there you see, in the bottom of the screen, Huni was able to find Contracts, even though they've been able to extract him from that dangerous scenario.
And SKT once again looking for control. Vision has always been one of their strongest points as a team. I was going to say most strongest, and I realized that's not a phrase I should say. So I said instead.
You were disgusted with yourself.
I was. Grammar's important, ladies and gentlemen. Stay in school. It's a big deal. SKT, though, getting rid of more and more of the wards. Their gold lead right now 2.3 thousand. Contracts could still Wolves, though. Opponent out of the pit there, but SKT certainly with a small control of this game, pushing in all 3 lanes.
I briefly mentioned Huni's build before here, which is so focused again on just dealing damage to Impact. If it had gone like more lethality with Ghostblade, he would hurt so much against the squishy guys. Obviously because of his high level, he's still going to do a lot of damage, but I still want to see the impact in an actual team fight with this build from him.
Oh, they caught Contract. He brings the Shark back into Jensen. 1 kill comes through. Jensen flashes away. This could still be dangerous. Faker pops the zone. He's thinking about a misclick that one. Wasn't in range of much. But here comes the backline active. Force run away. 1 kill comes through, and Smoothie's already dead. Jensen next to Huni drives in and grabs the kill. Now on to Faker, but he pops away. He's going to stay alive, but this one Bang can't quite fall. Yes, 1 does come through to Impact, but he's the only one to get a kill at all. SKT have already grabbed themselves 3. The chase forward, looking for 1 more kill. Cloud9 get it as Blank falls.
Such an important engage from SKT. Again, we talk about Impact not there. That means they have the freedom to go for this, and they pull off a really good dive, but once the teleport completes and Impact arrives, he's able to secure a couple of turnaround kills for them, which Cloud9 desperately need. Otherwise, they're going to continue to bleed territory. This mid-turret's about to fall.
But once again, it all starts with SKT having superior vision on the map. There are so many places where SKT can hide and use this fish from Faker to just like fire from long range, and then Bang can open up. There's so little information on the map from C9. They can't see anything.
Exactly. I honestly think they should be under their turrets, not even in front of them, if they don't have Big Daddy Impact there to block some of the damage. The teleport cooldown itself, even if you start it immediately, it's short enough that SKT can get those kills in the meantime.
Yeah, but you can't have the Big Daddy there because he's stuck defending his lane against the Jace. Otherwise, they just lose a tower. So he needs these kids here to actually handle himself in the mid lane, but because they don't know what's happening in the river, SKT can just move around, wait for a long ulti from Faker, Bang opens up, and then you have 4 squishy members dying in a few seconds.
That's the big thing for squishies right now. No one naturally going to buy a locket for the immediate durability to the rest of the teammates. Smoothie has himself a redemption, which can matter a little bit, but right now it's been difficult for Cloud9. The kill's still reasonably close. It's 5 to 8. The gold lead 2,500 for SKT. Certainly not insurmountable, but it is still the Koreans with the lead in this game.
I have to say, that problem you just brought up, Deficio, gets even worse for Cloud9 now because Impact did have to use his teleport to join that fight, and Huni now has the teleport advantage. So Huni going to try and pressure on bottom side first. They have Faker on top side. It's a classic SKT kind of gaining control of the entire map right now to get the waves moving, get that pressure down, and try and pick C9 apart.
Yeah, normally you want to shut down Fizz in the early game where he's not very strong, and they tried. They had contracts around the mid lane multiple times, but Faker is currently sitting very even in farm with a ton of kills. He has teleport, he's sitting in a side lane where no one can stop him, and that means Faker is just going to be so impactful in this game here. And of course in the full late game, we know how tough it is to play against a Fizz you can barely kill him in team fights and he can burst you down.
Yeah, SKT, so much going in their favor right now. They're definitely on the offensive, especially with
again.
Faker's teleport also coming up very shortly here, and a dragon also spawning on the Rift. There are a lot of rewards that SKT could try and take right now.
See what they get for themselves. Mountain Drake just now spawns up here. Baron Control's already there as they've got all that vision on this side. Bang looking for his first opening. Finds Sneaky. Couple attacks come through. There's the dunk in. Blade's probably going to come out after a second, but Sneaky already pushed out of the fight. Gets away from the Shark, but he might burn down. Needs another shield. Barrier will time out, and he might get poisoned. Someone to heal from Smooth.
Welcome back to World 2017, where I'm here to have a word with Wolf from SKT after they secure first seed. First seed, Wolf, but not a flawless parkour yet. Some things to deal with and a game dropped versus AHQ. What do you think the team has to work on going into the quarterfinals?
울프 선수 일단 1시드로 8강 진출하신 것을 축하드립니다. 하지만 사실 SKT 팀의 기준에 부합하는 완벽한 경기력 아직 나오지 않았는데요. 8강에 올라서면서 이제 어떤 점들을 보완해야 할 것 같은지 말씀해 주세요.
네, 일단 지금까지의 경기력이 솔직히 저도 굉장히 마음에 안 들고 팬 여러분들도 굉장히 마음에 안 드실 텐데 일단 피드백을 하면서 좀 뭐랄까 그동안 굉장히 저는 약점이 명확하게 보였다고 안 좋은 점이 명확하게 보였다고 생각했거든요. 그래서 뭐 그런 것들을 이제 언제나 경기도 남으니까 보면서 고쳐 나가야겠죠. 저희의 실수들을. 네.
So I myself not really satisfied with our own performance, and I'm sure our fans aren't really happy with our performance as well. But I think our weakness is pretty clear at this point, and we still have a lot of games ahead of us. So I think it's important for us to analyze those mistakes, our weakness, and improve them.
Okay, well, we will see how that evolves. Finally, Wolf, I know you probably already heard of what happened to the North American team so far, and C9 is the only team left. You just played them. How big do you think their chances are of going through? What are their strengths?
울프 선수 아시겠지만 북미 팀들이 매우 힘겨운 2주차를 보내고 있는데요. 이제 C9 팀이 북미 팀의 마지막 희망으로 남아 있는데 C9 팀이 이제 8강 진출에 대해서 어떻게 생각하시나요?
저는 일단 굉장히 진출할 수 있다고 생각하거든요. 왜냐면 저는 C9이 굉장히 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하고 또 북제탑 임팩트를 가지고 있기 때문에 언영이가 올라왔으면 좋겠고, 그리고 리그가 길어지면서도 또 지역이 하나는 남아야 그래도 재밌잖아요. 그래서 저는 C9이 충분히 올라갈 수 있다고 생각하고 그리고 올라갔으면 좋겠어요. 네.
So I actually think that C9 has a good chance of advancing to the quarterfinals. I think we need at least one NA team in the tournament to make it more interesting, and they have the best NA top, Impact, and I really hope that Impact plays well and the team, and yeah, I think they have a good chance.
That was it? Okay, well, Wolf's blessing for C9. Thank you very much, 감사합니다, Wolf, and good luck in the rest of the tournament. And now into that big matchup of C9 versus AHQ with you guys at the desk.
Homegrown NA talent Impact. He's going to be the savior of North America.
Some credit given to Impact, but SKT not necessarily pleased with their performances so far, even though they've secured that first seed. It just speaks to the aspirations and the discipline of that roster and that organization as they look to defend their title. With SKT securing the first seed to fight in Group A is now all about the final spot in quarterfinals. The winner of C9 versus AHQ puts the pressure on EDG while the loser is out of Worlds 2017. It's time for our analysts to tell us who they think will take the win and why.
Okay, so I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say AHQ. And
Lip popper.
And the reason why
it's just Jat would be so displeased.
Getting more information, just sussing things out. We had some questions at the top of the day. I said that Cloud9 had shored up their weaknesses from their domestic performance, Impact playing much more consistently, Contracts becoming that big superstar on a world stage. But now, not that Impact's playing poorly, but he's starting to slide back a little bit. He looks a little bit disjointed, and I think because Westor is starting, AHQ can play that 1-3-1 side lane style, start splitting Impact up from his team, and start exposing some of those weaknesses that we saw from just the last game, where he's not quite getting there just quick enough or on the right time.
Crumbs, what are your thoughts?
Well, at the top of the day, we predicted Cloud9 for second place. However, I got to know when to fold my cards. So I'm actually going with AHQ for this. Ooh. And I think Westor on mid is more impactful than having Chowie. On top of that, if you look at the performance for both these teams today, AHQ have been massively more impressive in their game against AHQ. and they played up against EDG, who right now today is the strongest team in this group. So with that being said, I do think the HQ will favor over Cloud9. However, if we do get a tiebreaker, I think EDG is going to ride it home.
All right, there you go. Azael, what do you think?
I still have some confidence in Cloud9, and the reason is because Westor is actually starting, and I think that like his laning phase has been such a big weakness. So while he has been very effective, and if he can get help, you know, around the jungle and actually get put in an advantage, I think he's incredible. But from a disadvantage, I think he has been pretty ineffective, and I think that Jensen's lane dominant style could actually exploit that since Cloud9 plays so heavily around mid lane.
I just want to say that Shin, I think, is going to be a massive pick here. I think it has to be denied from Cloud9, and almost even more important that Ziv gets his hands on it.
Yeah. I love how our reasons for AHQ are your reasons for Cloud9.
I just think Cloud9 can play heavily around it. Draft's going to matter a lot, though.
Hey, spotlight on the mid lane. It's do or die time for both these teams this game. Let's head over to the casters for picks and bans.
Thank you very much, Dash. Hello, everyone. Welcome to what is the most important game right now of the group stage. The loser is out. The winner is in at least a tiebreaker with EDG or flat out gets second in the group if SKT helps them.
And there's so much pressure on both teams. Like AHQ saw Flash Wolves end up 1 and 5 in their group, not make it. And we just saw that kind of engage before here where it was a few kills for SKT. Now it's just the Mountain Drake they will get, but a few summoners blown on the side of Cloud9 as well. So that just means in the next few minutes, we might see the exact same opening a third time, but this time giving even more kills to SKT.
3 summoners out of Cloud9, none out of SKT. The Drake picked up without contest here as Huni continues to get more gold and experience. Highest level in the game at 15. He's got the most gold, last I checked, as well. So he is the one to watch for as the major carry for. Sneaky still trying to scale up. Hurricane, despite really not being against a lot of melee, it's a bit of an interesting choice, but it's one he went for here.
I'm thinking of a scenario here where Cloud9, once they have Impact's Flash available, should just try and group up and force a large fight with him on the front lines, leading the charge, because that would be the way where they could actually gain momentum in one of these, instead of sitting around here, having SKT continue to nearly sideswipe them here in the mid lane and get big chunks of health.
So one of the ways to do that is by just starting the Baron and forcing SKT to move in and take the 5-on-5 team fight. But starting the Baron against champions like Fizz and Twitch is so risky because if you don't see them, they just surprise you.
And it puts you on a timer. Jace, Huni on the bottom side, trying to take the turret. Here they go.
They're burning it quickly. The rest of the team coming around. TP just now channeled out from Huni. Here comes Faker on the backside as well. Who can he find? The Shark's going to find barrier from Jensen. The fight continues as he looks for the kill. The Syndra's getting low. Flank into the front lines. The kill comes through to Faker. 1-0 so far to SKT. He's popped the zone. He's getting away as well. This could be a trade. Sneaky gets one. Or before in the fight, but the knockbacks continue, and Huni gets himself the second kill as the carries from Cloud9 are all gone. A double now out of Huni. Shock Blast gets the kill out of Smoothies. The bot lane's gone. Nice little shot out of Contrast gets one, but it's 3 for 2 so far. The 2 remaining Cloud9 members running away as Bang is on the hunt. He's got the move speed, but he's still getting shot at. He can't quite find those kills just yet. Still, +1 to SKT, and the Baron now going to be into their control.
That was such a well-played flank by Faker on the bottom side. It caused a lot of chaos in the backline of Cloud9. So even though Impact was there, and he tries to nail down the front line for Cloud9, Faker's in the backside, kind of delaying the DPS that they could put out.
And that's the thing, if you don't know where they're coming from or who you can engage on, you're just stuck here 5 members together. No one's going to touch Bang in this fight, and they're all going to try and jump onto Faker while trying to escape at the same time.
Exactly. Faker draws everybody's attention and still is able to solo out Jensen, giving them so much momentum in this fight that then SKT, they just run straight through with Bang auto-attacking and creating this pressure. Now, Contracts makes a smart move here, and he does have vision of Huni, so he's able to land that last shot. But again, it was advantage SKT getting the extra kill.
And we just talked about why C9 will try and make this play here. Force a 5-on-5 team fight. You need vision around the Baron though, especially behind it, so you can actually see SKT when they move towards you, and then you turn. You instantly flash engage with the Maokai, so you're not stuck like we saw here in this fight.
Then they had to turn again, back around 360 because Faker was behind them and they were just spinning in circles.
As you saw in the graph in the last fight, Sneaky had done the most on his team in the last one. Of course, we know that Huni had played the North American LCS. You can see the overall record of Impact against him, and Huni's been getting the better. Looks like he might one more time. Of course, this time with a stronger team. Still looking good for SKT.
And now we're also getting that lethality from Huni here, so he can deal that DPS against all the squishy members. Basically, he's been winning his side lane. He's been joining his team when needed. But honestly, it's been about they now have a chance, even though a lot of people were saying HQ had absolutely no chance of getting out of that group. And then you got C9.
They beat SKT.
They beat SKT, yeah. And then C9 are looking at all the other North American teams dropping out. Now there's 0-2 as well on the day. Like, the amount of pressure on these guys, it's insane.
And imagine if AHQ hadn't beaten SKT at the beginning, we could have almost had a three-way tie coming in. Sadly, it means Cloud9 cannot possibly go 0-4 on the day. They will not play tiebreaker if they lose, so at least that's there. NA is at least going 1-10, better than 0-10 from a couple years ago. But we are under the game. That's the important part. Sejuani banned away by Cloud9, AHQ to respond with, I'm going to guess, Callista.
Wow! Prophet.
Yo, I'm so good.
Well done, Freak. Honestly, though, the question, when Westor is in the game, how much do people actually think about the champion pool? Because his is much different, right? The Twisted Fate and the Fizz is always brought up every single year, and some teams actually even walk down that path of spending bans on that rather than spending bans on the meta picks at the moment.
They just banned TF.
Okay.
They're actually like, they're so
Cloud9 is
afraid.
one of those teams.
They're so afraid that in this crucial game, that AHQ are playing Westor so you can pick this TF.
I feel like this is one of Westor's greatest powers.
Yeah.
Right? Year after year, it always happens.
You ban his champions, everything else left up.
And I know it's Westor's TF, it's very special, but I still feel like you can at least save it for second ban phase, worst case, or just give it to him and camp that lane. There are so many champions in the mid lane with CC setups you can use to shut it down. I guess Fizz is something they're going to consider now?
Yeah, maybe as well. Keep in mind, if he goes down the pool, his Malzahar 8-1 right now this year. So there's definitely some things Westor can bring out. We'll see what comes in later on to this one. Lulu off the table. Looks like a Janna first pick. See if that comes through, though.
Yeah, unless AHQ ban it here, you would definitely expect them to match. I really do not agree with any teams leaving up one. I guess HQ are going to do it. And Cloud9, the only pause here would be, what's the bait? What is the...
Rakan is up, which a lot of teams will actually take over Janna, and you could even go for the full Misfit style and grab like a Blitzcrank or a Thresh and go really hard, but Rakan, the most likely answer.
I think going Rakan, Jarvan as your trade, so you literally leave Janna up for the only reason that you know C9 will first pick it, so you get your two preferred champions right now in your first rotation. Otherwise, you should just ban the Janna, of course.
Biggest difference here, to me, is that Rakan takes a higher level of execution to pull off than Janna.
Sure.
I don't think many people would argue with that, right?
Yes. Everyone agrees with you in the entire community of League of Legends.
And we've seen quite a few, especially after the nerfs to Rakan, slowing him down a bit. We have seen the counterplay come through. You can have AoE silences, you can have large knockbacks. Cho'Gath, Syndra have been some of the big meta picks that have actually been able to deal with it.
So they value the Twitch here. There are still a lot of late game carries for Sneaky to play and have the Janna protecting him.
Yeah.
Obviously,
Trist, the likely ones.
Definitely true. We have a Rakan not being picked this time because they didn't have to show support. And I was wondering if other teams wanted to start playing Caitlyn. It's been the LPL team so far doing it. A lot of success, especially in the early game. It's a great pick in lane against Twitch as well.
And it looks like they're going to do it. Time's ticking down, and Cloud9 going to pick up a champion that I'm pretty sure exactly 2 teams practiced heading into Worlds. Okay, 3, sorry, all the Chinese squads probably played it, but she was gone from the metagame.
Yes.
Entirely. No one's considering this champion. You heard Mithy talk about it. He's like, no, Sven never considered this thing even being viable whatsoever. And that's going to be the pickup here. So Sneaky in the do-or-die game for Cloud9 and North America as a whole, pulling out the Caitlyn.
When people have been seeing these games too, and they're like, oh my god, why doesn't everyone pick Caitlyn? Well, the reason is she does, drop off more later than she used to. And yes, she has been bullying these lanes. You need to be able to bully these lanes. You need to be able to wear down this turret and start to get gold for the rest of your team and use this swing of momentum early on, switching from turret to turret and kind of sieging as the way to win the game. Now they have actually locked in another form of disengage for themselves. So C9 looks like they're fully committing to this strategy.
I was just about to mention the Fizz. He'd be like, if he wants to play it after that TF ban, he needs to pick it now. It does mean Rakan is not going to get locked in by AHQ. And instead, what they got from their Janna bait was a Jarvan and a Twitch. I don't feel like they won out on that trade.
What's interesting as well is it doesn't play against Cloud9 style just yet. If it's an early game snowball comp, you picked no wave clear in your mid lane, which is often one of the roles that actually exists.
That's a very big point. There are 2 things that you usually look for when you're talking about siege comps and things like this in the early game. One is the wave clear. The other one is hard engage to try and crack it later. You look for this decisive moment in the game where you force a team fight with some hard engage, some guarantee. There are a lot of options that have been banned out here. I would expect Cloud9 to ban more of them. Rakan, one of those big, tools that you can use to get those engagements.
So I need to see some kill pressure here from AHQ in this draft. In the bottom lane, if you're going to play this Twitch here against the Caitlyn and the Janna, I'm almost looking towards like a support who can actually engage on the Caitlyn, and then you can camp the lane with Jarvan and double TP and use that to try and shut down Sneaky.
I see two styles. You go full Karma and you wave through and keep the turret alive to stall to the one item point where Twitch starts outscale, or you go for the hardcore, the Thresh, the Blitzcrank, the dive.
And I do like, you know, opting for one of those pull supports because even with the Karma, I feel like the Caitlyn Janna begins to wear down the turret anyway.
They're doing it.
It could be a drop in the bucket. Maybe they'll be able to pull it off though and actually buy enough time for themselves and delay, you know, the turret gold going down.
It's such a risky draft. I think Azale in his prediction touched on the fact that Westdoor playing against Cloud9 is really risky from HQ side because C9 is the team who loves to play around mid. Westdoor is a weak laner. He falls behind in the early game. Cloud9, last time these guys played each other last week, destroyed that mid lane.
Weak laner, but strong roamer. So maybe it's just HQ deciding to go more into the bucket of, we are going to crack this game open with a big play and have Westdoor, you know, crack on the bottom side and break one of those big things open.
But then you're going to go down to this lane here where your playmaking potential is a snare after a few seconds from a Karma. I hope the bot lane can survive for long enough so that Freak, you're 100% correct with the Hurricane coming in from Twitch and then they try and fight back.
Sure.
But they gotta be able to survive in that early game. You can't lose the early tower.
And remember, with this LeBlanc pick, you know, Jensen could very easily take teleport as well. And there are two forms, the best two forms really of disengaging the entire game here with Janna and Gragas. So Cloud9 do have defensive options to try and stop that big play.
And they've picked strong laning everywhere. Gnar coming in as the quasi-blind pick for the top lane. Certainly one of the better laners in top lane League of Legends. Impact, no stranger to the champion. Of course, Jensen's LeBlanc a big deal as well.
Do we get the Jace again for Ziv against this Gnar up in the top lane? Or will they just play a simple tank?
Yeah, the problem with that is, and I really want this big moment where you have the hard engage. And Jarvan is one form, but that's not enough. Janna completely stuffs him, right?
Yep.
So now with the Maokai, they're trying to get that extra layer, it looks like.
But you got 3 losing lanes now. Like, you're going to get shoved in 3 lanes. Contract should have freedom to roam wherever he wants in this game.
Gotta believe in that big one play.
Yeah, you've got to believe in the big one play, the big roam. AHQ, I think, if they survive, their team fight, to me, looks a lot stronger. I think the scaling is really good in a lot of places. But Cloud9, as you mentioned, in 3 winning lanes, it's around a lot of this, the Caitlyn Janna chip, the repeated pressure in that bot lane, and it's the sustained chipping versus the big play out of HQ.
And the team that opts into the sustained chipping and this early advantage are the ones that have to watch their mistakes. You can't afford to have unforced errors with these types of compositions. As both of you guys have highlighted, you give some gold over to this HQ comp,
of course,
and they can start to prey on you.
I think also, though, on the team who needs to defend all 3 lanes, it's kind of the same thing. If you do mess up in the early game and give a big advantage over to Cloud9, that's an early tower dropping. And then this Caitlyn is going top lane and mid lane, and suddenly you find yourself without outer turrets, and you're pushed really far back on the map. So it definitely goes both ways. It's on HQ to be proactive once they get that first item. Before that, defend, stall, hope maybe Mountain can pull off a surprise gank in the early game.
Honestly, every single minion wave is a big objective for AHQ.
Yeah, a minion wave is required to knock down turrets. You kill those turrets off, you get the minions off, no push. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The most important game of the group stage. Lose and you are out of the tournament. 3rd or 4th place is a guarantee. Win and you are in at least a tiebreaker with EDG, or with SKT's help, you are in as the 2nd seed out of Group A. It's all on how this team plays. Cloud9 swag coming out from Sneaky's helmet. See what happens.
I think Cloud9 will be happy with their draft here. It really fits their play style. Try and get early advantages, especially around mid, but then also bot lane now with Sneaky on this Caitlyn. Impact is fine if he's isolated in a 1v1, as long as you're winning on the bottom side of the map.
See what comes through right now. Pretty standard battle lines for both these squads. No crazy deep wards coming in just yet, but we'll wait for some penetration to come in. Looks like Smoothie's Janna looking in for a couple of wards alongside the Gragas, as Ziv is just chilling in the Tribe Rush. And yeah, looks like Cloud9 got a deep ward onto the red buff of Mountain, so that is some deep vision put in by Cloud9.
The wild card here is the Jarvan jungle, right? You know, Maokai can set up ganks well. Jarvans can go for level 2 ganks very early on. So that's what Cloud9 are trying to figure out right now. They want to remove some of these surprise early tactics.
Ahn is also sacrificing a bit of his early laning by going for fervor here on the Twitch, trying to maximize his damage in the late game. Warlords on Sneaky is definitely a sustained advantage that matters in the laning phase.
Yeah, it's going to be on Albus to shield the headshots from Sneaky, make sure that On can dodge the Qs as well. The Piltover Peacemakers can really punish here. But again, the scaling obviously much, much better with a Fervor. Twitch. Mid lane here, we're looking at it. Jensen's going to try to push back West Door and keep the farm up.
As much as the legend around West Door's Fizz has been built up, I feel like LeBlanc has become the signature champ for Jensen as well. A lot of the big, crushing victories for C9 have been around that.
I mean, he's a champion that C9 play really well with and respect so much they even ban it themselves sometimes against other mid laners because they're afraid they're going to pick it early on in the draft. It's such a power pick, and it's been such a power pick in North America. It was one of the big deals coming into Rift Rivals. European teams didn't really utilize the LeBlanc, but North American teams did, and they camped the mid lane and got the LeBlanc rolling, and it just took over games. It can be the same in this one here. Contracts and Jensen together, it's been a good 2v2 combo, and it needs to work in this game.
So far you're seeing it right now. Jensen's only missed 1 CS across the first 2 waves. Right now, Wester only has 2 of about an available 8, so is getting the early deny going. Expected for the matchup. We'll see if Cloud9 can keep that one going. Of course, we just saw SKT use a advantage top lane matchup to help win a game as well.
And this Karma in the bottom lane is a strong laner, which obviously, again, fits in with this whole try and protect the Twitch in the early game, try not to lose the lane too hard. Scaling is not the same as a Janna, so that's definitely a disadvantage, but you got the rest of your team scaling for you.
Exactly, and that's why eyes in the early game on the junglers. Contracts, this is one of the first times we've seen him on a tank jungler rather than the super offensive, warriors.
This is his first non-warrior jungler.
He does have vision on Mountain at the moment, but bottom side they're trading.
Yeah, pretty solid trade out of HQ as well. Good damage on a Sneaky right now. Actually a farm lead in as well. A nice spike. Gets 10 gold in for Mountain, but the health bar is pretty low on this Jarvan. Krug's hurting him as well, but triggers Thunderlords and looks like he'll get this camp.
So much about jungle skirmishes are about watching your lanes. Who is collapsing first? Contracts goes back in once he sees the Maokai back in lane to finish off the last of those Krugs.
Nice little distortion right there, gets some damage to Wester, but tanks a turret shot for his trouble. Jensen still healing back up, and again, 22-9 is a great farm lead. We're seeing Impact win his early lane as well, but that bot lane is not winning yet for Cloud9.
So see already every single potion stack used by Westdog taking a lot of damage in the lane. 2 still left on Jensen, so he should be able to force an early TP from the Fizz. A lot of damage in the bottom lane once again.
Yeah, Cloud9 not winning this duo at all.
Okay, definitely chunked down here. A little bit scary, and they do have to worry about a Jarvan, very flexible ganker. Mountain is level 3, even though he was chased out of the top side. That was a good 40 seconds ago. C9 should be accounting for the possibility. Mountain actually already heading down there, and he wants to get behind the Cloud9 duo. He's done it.
This could be the first big play. Ziv has teleport if he wants it. Doesn't need to, though. Westdoor has actually started his own teleport. That was to the mid lane, so he's not joining this fight. Here comes Mountain. Slow's going to be dodged away by Sneaky, getting the flash off. Gets jumped on, and he does have the mana for 90 caliber net. The chase continues with the barrier. Going to block a lot of damage this time around. The Janna shield there as well. 3 summoners down versus 2 burned.
This is why we mentioned Mountain early on in the game, because when you play Jarvan, you have gank pressure, and yes, your lanes are getting pushed, but if you can find that little path to behind the enemy team, you can try and get an advantage for your laners. Right here, to get more summoners blown on C9's side, so small win in the bot lane.
Yeah, definitely a small win. If we remember back to even the play-in stage here for Cloud9, who have been playing at Worlds for a long time now, more than most of these other teams, one of the big losses was from Cloud9 having a pushing lane on the bottom side, not putting the 3-minute ward behind their tri-bush, and getting ganked and snowballed in on the bottom side. This time around they did get out of it, but as you mentioned, most of the summoners have been blown.
I'm just not a fan of the Twitch flashing forward aggressively this early on in the game, because he's going to be under pressure. There is soon a level 6 LeBlanc, who's still sitting in the lane, not gone back to base just yet, can save the TP, and then use that to push mid, move bot lane, potentially even TP bot lane if needed, and then you can kill this no-flash Twitch very easily. Right now with top lane.
Gank the top side, round number 2 for Mountain. Impact flashing away, almost mega if he wants that one for the transform and the health bar, and he's going to get a kite away pretty easily. Afraid of flashes for top laners.
Yeah, Impact turns around to fight that because of the rage bar built up. Let's see if that is actually punished for either top laner, though. Currently, Contracts on the bottom side. They saw Westdoor come over.
Westdoor puts the ward down, similar for Contracts. He knows the control ward is here, and he's going to clear away part of this camp without knowing that he's spotted.
Right now, we have 22 CS on Westdoor. There's a wave at his tower he's trying to kill. Jensen goes back here now with 50 CS. Contracts will find Elvis.
Gonna find some damage here. Smite for some HP, and he's got the rest of the team coming around as well as Smoothie joins the fray. Level 4 on all these sides. This could be the first route coming across for this one.
Is that TP?
Impact teleports in, but
Jensen.
HQ see it.
Impact gonna start his as well. He's going to the top lane, but yeah, Jensen here had been able to hold on to his teleport until this time, and closer to the lane, it's not actually greedy. I think he
engages on C9.
He's on separate sides right now. As Faker looking for the play against Jensen, not going to find it here. We had seen Impact look for Huni, but didn't find it in the bot side, so disengages on both halves.
Yeah, the cooldown of Righteous Glory is actually something to track as well. Everyone always focuses on these summoner spells, but Righteous Glory movement speed and that engage for Impact is also very important. It's a much lower cooldown, so he kind of tried to use it there to grab Huni. It was unable to, and they'll have to work around this as well.
But it's still 90 seconds, so it's going to be up about the same.
If you can't kill the Fist yourself, push him on the tower, deny him CS, and then roam to this bottom lane so that Sneaky and Smoothie can keep getting damage on the tower. When you play Caitlyn, you need to kill this tower in the early game so you can rotate around the map and make up for your weak mid game.
And it becomes this big sustain war, right? You don't want to be the ones to back, or else you give up huge chunks of your turret. And at this point, it's almost giving up the turret itself. Both of the AD carries, no potions left. In fact, going in on Ziv for a trade.
And dodged away from the stun, still taking plenty of damage. Has to use his own ultimate to stay alive, as in fact uses his to get more damage across. So a trade in blows, plus 17 should be 19 CS for Impact by the end of this wave at 7 minutes here. So far, pretty solid early lane. You're seeing Cloud9 up almost 1,000 gold from the laning phase. This is one of those tenets that kind of had to happen based on their composition.
Yeah. Also now with contracts, Tracker's Knife is there, Control Ward is there. Get that in AHQ's jungle, near their AHQ's blue buff. You want to control bottom side as much as possible. Isolate the Gnaw in the 1v1 and allow Sneaky with full vision to once again hit the turret.
Exactly. I mean, I know you guys use the term tempo a bunch in Europe, and you
stopped doing it.
Become tired of it.
Fun of us.
But this is where it's so apt, right? We talk about the recall timings being so important in that bottom lane because of the turret health. The Caitlyn Janna just continues to fully heal off the minion wave. Every time the shield goes down onto Caitlyn, moves up, tries to abuse her range. They poke in the minion wave, and then the AHQ duo has to choose between taking damage while CSing and trying to clear out the minions and heal up under their turret. Not going to happen.
And you never get an easy time to recall. You kind of need the enemy dual lane to recall first, so you can try and match that at the same time, but you're always slightly delayed, and that means they return to lane faster, and they start pushing once again.
Like sharks in the water, where as that takes its toll, it draws everybody to the bottom side. There are low health members.
Junglers spot each other. Nice flag and drag its mountain away, but this is a 4 versus 3 dive that can't easily be defended, and you're seeing quite a few turret shots come out from Sneaky as a result. Hasn't bought yet, so the shots don't mean a lot, but getting chipped.
This is the exact play we talk about. Jensen moving in with contracts. It's not about tower diving AHQ. It's once again allowing more damage to hit onto this turret. It's just small wins and chipping away every single time.
Exactly. Both teams know about this impending explosion here, yet AHQ have a lot fewer options to deal with it. There goes lane movement, actually, as I believe Mountain is down there as well, trying to hold on for them. But as long as Cloud9 match, HQ just do not have the power to overthrow here.
Yeah, he's trying to give them a chance to actually push out the lane and recall so they don't lose the tower, but now Contracts is down here as well.
I think we're close to Cloud9's first recall timing. Sneaky has the money for BF Sword plus pickaxe and like a control ward. This is what we often saw Mystic do when WE was doing this a couple days ago. This might be the recall timing for Sneaky, and then they'll go for the turret kill at 10 minutes.
See, Contracts is hiding it. He's waiting for Jensen to be able to move down as well. Meanwhile, up in the top lane.
He got him in a turret range impact. He's gonna fall. First blood. Solo kill for Ziv in the top lane.
That is huge. Impact had been getting such a lead, but now mid lane.
Oh, the fight is in. He's gonna find the route onto the door. He's running out of health. Bars the shots. Coming in, gonna maybe get the dot. It's not gonna be enough. Jensen stays alive. The trident over his head. 1 kill for Cloud9.
Oh, Mountain is here. Can he do anything? No, Contract will just deny him any entrance towards Jensen.
Not even close to in range the Q down as well, but he has ulti.
Because there's so much action elsewhere, the bottom lane turret is taking more damage as well. And the objective that we kept on talking about, that first turret bonus, is getting lower and lower.
Oh, Westor tried that all in. Let's see Mountain. He's sitting up here.
Westor has teleport as well. The Fizz teleport. There it goes. Oh, it's on the turret.
And of course, Mountain very low in health. He's not in range of killing Contracts.
Tempo teleport.
Hoping to fight for the big raptor. Didn't get it. Contracts takes the camp away.
Teleport cooldown is one thing, but you need a place to use it. There have to be wards out there, and they haven't had the pressure.
And this turret could still fall without any recalls coming through. Cloud9 just staying in the lane. It takes them 11 minutes, but it's worth it in the end. First turret gonna come through to Cloud9 here in the bot lane. And the farm lead's starting to grow as well. They're plus 11.
Exactly as we mentioned in Champ Select, like when you have this Janna Caitlyn lane, you're looking to just constantly push him. Get down the turret here. No real counterplay from HQ other than potentially 2 wards behind Cloud9 they could teleport onto, but they've been using the teleports back to their lane to try and stay even in CS. Top lane though, big mistake from Impact.
We talked about unforced errors in Champ Select as well, and Impact gives over one of them. He had been keeping up the pressure very well, but Ziv, this guy definitely deserves, a shout out. Meanwhile, we're going to talk about this one in the mid lane, but Ziv on top side definitely deserving of a lot of the praise that he has gotten for his top lane play.
That was so close right there, of course, and Jensen barely survives the encounter, but it's now suddenly a 2.3 thousand gold lead for Cloud9. This comp is doing what it's designed to do. Infinity Edge in here for Sneaky. Hurricane there for On, though, is not too bad, especially with Ardent Sensor in soon.
So HQ knows, okay, Caitlyn will go top lane, start pushing another turret. They're trying to match it now with the Hurricane on, but there is no Ardent Sensor yet, and there is one on Smoothie's side with that gold from the turret.
And that is such a huge difference. The amount of gold value of stats that you get from this completed item compared to the component is insane. They actually are trying to punish that, though, with Mountain coming up here, it looked like, but he is now backed off because Janna post level 6 can fully reset, and you can actually 2v3 because the Ardent is done.
There was also an old control ward placed that obviously HQ knew were there because it was killing one of their own wards, so Mountain didn't have an easy path into that lane. Normally when you swap like this, there's actually no wards in your lane already, and you can get surprised then by an early gank.
Yeah, a full Ardent completion should mean that Cloud9 get to take down this top turret, then transition over to mid lane, and try and control the rest of the objectives. They're actually maybe going for a dive even.
No, it's not going to get found out here. Camouflage plus the shield keeps him safe with the movement speed. Sneaky still getting shots off from the turret as Contracts holds the line for now, and it is one wave away from falling.
And I think AHQ did not expect Ardent Sensor to be completed just yet. Had they just gone to the bottom lane and swapped the lanes around, they could have traded turrets. Instead, they walked top lane, realized, oh, there's an Ardent Sensor. That's bad. We're now going to lose this tower for nothing, and they have not been able to do anything in return. C9 wants standard lanes. They don't want any lanes. Soft doesn't want to keep doing this. They have not wanting the Maokai. They will, of course, win the 2v2 as well with the Caitlyn and the Janna, so they're very happy now.
They're very happy, yeah. Cloud9 might just be the one team to make it into the top 8 from North America. Of course, AHQ could have done the same for the LMS. On looking for the flank. This could be the first big play. Shark's going to land onto the front line. Contracts, though, he's a tankiest member. Mountain low on health. Couple more shots to do him and gets a quick shield, though. Spray break comes out from On. What? He's trying to make it happen. He's not going to make it go through. The shots come through, and Sneaky takes him down.
Yeah, you can't. Even with the flank there with a Twitch, Janna has such a huge reset. Her ultimate's so good early on in the game. She can apply Ardent to everybody. They all heal up after this, and C9 will take the objective afterwards.
On right there, man. Just wanted that kill so badly. He knew he was going to die on the way out, but still he's using both summoners for it.
So this flash forward on the Twitch to Fischio, probably even worse than the earlier one we saw bottom lane. And that's going to be all outer turrets. C9 should reset right now and then grab the dragon before HQ can actually revive.
But again, they're bleeding towers, they're bleeding gold. It's 5k in favor of C9. They try and engage it with the Hurricane, but there's no Ardent Sensor just yet, and On actually gets a lot of damage off, but this flash forward
doesn't make any sense. I think he wants Contracts, but it's a one-way trip for sure.
Yeah, it's one of those plays where you do it, and then you're like, ah, dang, Janna, broken champion. But you're like,
no, that's your fault.
Exactly. You should recognize her right next to him. That's what her ultimate does, and the heals come through to save the rest of C9.
Play that we call the Reckless. Oh.
Damn.
He made top 8.
Damn, boy.
He made top 8. I would take that. Either way, we are
not even here to defend himself.
We'll see him in the next stage, and I'm sure he'll defend himself well there. We'll see what happens in this one as AHQ down 5,000 gold. Cloud9 went for early game pretty much everywhere, and so forth is paying off. Farm leads in every single lane, even supports at least Titan farm.
All right, so Rift Hill is the next objective here. There's no like tier 1 towers you can actually kill, but you want to use this Rift Hill to try and get down a tier 2 tower, and then you start setting up that deep vision, take away the jungle camp, and you kind of have this game where if you can't chip away in turrets, you just wait for Baron.
And once again, we have to look at it from HQ's perspective because it's so difficult, and it gets more and more difficult as you let it go on standard.
Yeah.
The Fischio mentioned this, you can't fight for objectives. The only way you could get them in this position now would be to try and trade. You know, if they commit to one side, try and sneak an objective somewhere else, but it's almost past that point now, and Cloud9, the last step for them is to move up the vision so that you see any movements that HQ try and step out of line.
Yeah.
And if they go for one of those trades, slap the hand, and you cut that off as quick as it started.
Yeah, it's all about stopping the big play out of AHQ. Meanwhile, the LMS squad needs this one to happen, otherwise they will be the third and final LMS team eliminated from Worlds. Here comes the engage. They're going to find on, knock him into the wall. Mountain's there as well. Looks for the first damage. They've got a sneaky. Finds the kill on Twitch. He's going to fall. Slaps the hand. There you go, Kobe. And again, no uprise for AHQ yet in this game.
Oh, there was no flash on An. He used it last team fight, and trying to even contest the jungle vision is impossible for AHQ at this point. And it's their own fault when you draft the 3 losing lanes, and when also your AD carry is playing over-aggressive, trying to make something happen in the early game. You can just get punished even more. Big wave top lane, plus a Rift Tail, potentially a tower.
TSM died for this. Cloud9 using the tower pushing strategy to find advantage here on the last day. Ziv, round number 2 with Impact.
Not looking pretty. Pops the ulti for some disengage, but Impact's almost in range. Hyper's going to trigger, not quite enough for the kill, but you know he was thinking about it. Meanwhile, Rift Herald helps knock down top lane tier 2. AHQ still turretless. All they've grabbed has been that single solo kill from Ziv. Cloud9 leading otherwise on a perfect game.
And it's kind of the same setup with Impact as we saw with Huni last game, where he just needs to 1v1 the top laner right in front of him and not really do a whole lot else. Because the 4-man group of C9 with the jungler down to the support, they're just stronger than AHQ's 4-man group. And they're constantly going to apply pressure and isolate Impact to always just play 1v1. No one should ever be able to gank this Nord, because then a tower or something should fall elsewhere on the map.
Cloud9 going to hope that pressure continues here on this one. Looking to guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker with EDG for the last spot in the top 8 here at Worlds 2017. Cloud9 hoping to undo all the disappointment North America had so far this week in the Worlds group stage.
And important to note that for that tiebreaker to happen, EDG needs to beat SKT
Which is
in the next game.
Also, I don't know if you can undo it. It's already been done. We're in it.
Well,
we're living in this world now.
Is one top 8 a disappointment for North America is the question, because then it stops being disappointing if at least one team made it. Either way, of course, the record's not been good, but Cloud9 can at least follow through on their week 1 record of 2-1, hoping to make at least 1 win come through here. 3-1 so far in this game. Again, 6,000 the gold lead. We have not found the big play out of AHQ yet.
This is the one moment where Impact needs to kind of respect that he's the only one pushing, because the rest of his team has gone back to base, they're returning to the map, and that's where like a Twitch can sneak down, or maybe Westall ganks him. But if he's just playing like this now, where he steps away, waits for his team to push the other lanes, well, then he's never gonna get ganked.
And it looks like we're in for the next inflection point soon. 1 minute, 18 seconds left on Baron spawning. You imagine Cloud9 might be looking to control that from second 1.
Definitely true, and it becomes very important to clean as much vision as you can for Cloud9. They don't want to let one of those wards slip through for the Maokai to teleport on. Because again, as we said in Gem Select, HQ's whole decision here was to go with the one big play. We can crack this. At some point, we'll get a magnificent engage, you know, and get a whole huge amount of gold back.
Oh, the flash misses entirely. Mountain flashing first, a bit surprising. The Shark's not going to land either. 90 caliber net. Finds himself a big fish as Sneaky's fine.
Today will not be that day. Not right there, not on Sneaky's watch. Tower number 2 about to go down.
Man, AHQ are not defending well in this game here. They feel so forced in their engages, and it's allowing C9 to get even more objectives than they are supposed to get. 5 turrets down, hitting the in-nip turret in the mid lane. Bot lane, Impact can start getting some damage on his tower as well. And before 20 minutes, we might have 6 towers down. Hurry up, Impact!
This is definitely one of those academic victories as Cloud9 begin to continue closing the loop. Caitlyn traps go up. Inhibitor turret health goes down. And here comes Impact.
All on, just trying to get his farm, but he's not anywhere close to Infinity Edge right now. His team fight power is not yet there. Turret's gonna fall. There's 6 turrets at 20:08. Look for a bit more. As the inhibitor's gonna be falling, taking more and more shots, and there we go. 2015, the inhibitor falls. A year Cloud9 maybe hoping to forget.
Oh, Sneaky walks out. So AHQ basically decides to play this full scaling game against one of the teams that's actually been able to snowball.
Explosive cast maybe goes the wrong way. Almost dragged to safety. The knockup under the turret, though this could be the second kill. Contract's forced to flash away. And slight over-aggression. Here comes the re-engage. Look for the ulti across. Finds the roots on the 3. Will this be the fight for AHQ? The healing coming out from Janna. Spray and spray still coming around. Not yet the kill, but now on to Impact. He is not yet close to making our flash away. Stays alive. Into the back lane for Sneaky. Flash away himself. And Mountain cannot chase. He will lose his life. This Jarvan is dead. 4-1 now, Cloud9.
That was the attempt. That was it. HQ try and pray on C9 going too far inside the turrets, but it's too late. Sneaky arrives, they reset the fight, and Cloud9 come out ahead.
And C9 is sitting right now with a huge gold lead. They got more items than AHQ. Baron is alive. They can start playing around that one. Already picked up a mountain break to make it easier. They're feeling so good, and it doesn't matter if Caitlyn's mid game is weaker than other AD carries. If you're already an item ahead of them, you're going to be more than fine. This is the first fight where they do not get the kill on Albus, but he's forced out of the team fight for now. Rest of our AHQ trying to get something in return, but this is where you notice how far down they actually are in items.
And they notice it as well. You can feel the desperation there in the engagement. A little bit of an opportunity is all it takes for them to pull the trigger and go all in.
And just the damage not quite there. I mean, it's narrowly close. You can see a lot of low health bars there from Cloud9. You imagine a few hundred more gold in the inventory as these players, that damage comes through. Imagine that's an Infinity Edge on Twitch. That 2-5-0-2 becomes 5-5-0-2 and they're all dead. Those are the margins here that could have made AHQ win, but the gold deficit has grown so large.
Give the Twitch 4 to 5 more minutes, and then he will have that eye edge and be ready to try and fight.
Maybe round 2 looks better, but...
Maybe. Does give enough time for C9, though, to potentially get even their third item on some of their carries, and also start setting up for Baron. It's a Mountain is behind the Baron, either trying to look for a pick or a potential steal, but the Baron is not started yet.
Yeah, C9 don't have to rush into anything. Again, they hold all the cards. They push up each lane, they lay down their vision. You remove one by one all of the pathways for HQ to get back into this game.
Right now, off by about 20 in the favor of Impact, but we'll see what comes next.
And again, it's so much on Impact to, he's trying to basically herd the rest of the members of SKT to pin them down and allow Cloud9 to get off their damage, but it's been so difficult, and SKT has done such a good job. Look at the vision on both sides here. They're just constantly pressing in.
Yeah, it's such a problem for Cloud9 that they cannot stop the 2 split pushers, so there's...
I'm not going to look at the Baron steal another knockup there on a Sea's Shark. This time is going to land. There is almost no way out for him. Damage coming across, and yet they find the way. The heals come through, the barrier in as well. The Janus shield regardless. And now Zeb in the front line a little bit isolated. The burst damage coming across as Impact tries to come in as well. He's looking for...
And that means that C9 always afraid that someone's going to roam into mid, like shoot them from the side with a long-range Fizz ulti or the Shock Blast from Huni, and it just makes you play very defensive in mid lane, and then you always give over the priority to Bang to just sit in that mid.
And Jensen now on a killing spree, 6-1 Cloud, and get another 2-for-0 team fight.
Contracts chain CC'd Westor right there, so he could not get on to Sneaky and finish him, and then all the healing and shielding came in from Smoothie, and now Sneaky's back to full HP.
Thank you, based Ardent Sensor. Sneaky back to full health there, the shields. And Smoothie being a really big deal as well. The respawn's up in about 15 seconds, but right now, Cloud9 looking for the base itself. One of those Nexus turrets down to about 1/4 HP. Top inhibitor going to fall as well. 12,000 gold separates these squads. You have
All of Cloud9 squishy members have to dodge every single skill shot, or else SKT are going to pounce on it.
The arsenal is bigger right now. It is 1 missile short. Faker's ulti was down. Huni's teleport now also gone, but he's rejoined the team to make sure that's not going to be a 5v4, but it looks like they want in. They can...
HQ, the death numbers are so low that they can get back up and have one more attempt, but they've got no defense.
2 inhibitors already gone, 2 Nexus turrets have followed suit. This could be the last fight of Worlds 2017 for AHQ. 2 and 4 would be the kill, and a Faker's going to jump away. He's going to be up here. The Zonia's True Shot Barrage Forces flash out of the member. SKT going to lose another couple of cooldowns, but they get away alive.
Good play right here from Cloud9. They're moving Impact from the bottom lane. As soon as Huni is not in that lane, just perma pushing, group him up with the team, as Kobe has mentioned multiple times, and they try and find engage. Sadly, they don't get a kill.
They do get the flash.
For them as the battle rages on. Ziv in the front line, but he gets shut down for Jensen's rampage. The door cannot quite close it on a Smoothie. Stays alive. The kill comes in, a double in for Cloud9's mid laner. And now 3 versus 5. They can only sit back and watch as their exit is complete. Cloud9.
But they're not able to force anything else like, oh, a Baron or anything like that, because SKT has so much vision. They would want to try and also get like Faker's teleport out or something, but SKT seem to be able to recover very quickly from that because all of their groundwork, pushing up the side waves, all of the vision that's already been laid in the jungle.
That's the thing, these professional teams, when it comes to split pushers, always talks about windows. When you're pushing down the enemy top lane to his tower,
and hoping they can make that top 8.
Great early game from C9. They won their lanes, they pushed the advantage. But man, AHQ's decision to draft 3 losing lanes against C9, one of the teams at Worlds who've actually proven multiple times they can take an early lead and snowball it. you just have to question that decision. They sacrificed everything early on, thought they could maybe survive and make it out, but they made some really poor calls in the game.
When you draft into this, you put yourself into a position to have to outplay, to have to surprise.
No mistakes.
And it's really interesting because I think we've seen this interaction 3 times now, 3 different games of Caitlyn Siege versus someone else. And every time Caitlyn Siege has won so far, it feels like the one strategy's been practiced and the teams know the movements around it.
Right.
But who's scrimmed against it yet and understands the ways to beat it? And it seems like no one yet.
Exactly. That's for next week where teams will have to adapt to it, because you need some sort of playmaking in the bottom lane to get onto the Caitlyn, or you need stronger laning AD carries. Twitch is not a strong laning AD carry. He wants to get to his first item, and that's the thing Caitlyn can counter, especially when there's a shielding support next to him, not posing any threat. And great adaptation from C9, picking that Caitlyn, saying, you know, this is working for others. We should do the same.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that we always used to see in the past was the super hard engage and making those quick plays.
Yep.
But Janna right now being so powerful and her fitting in as the disengaged support also is just another layer that you have to get over when countering it.
And adding 40 raw attack damage turns out to be pretty good when the entire game is pivoted around 13 minutes into the game. That's when you max out the E, and it's like the exact Janna power spike is at level 7, 8, 9 right there. So certainly a lot's worked out. Great compositions coming out for Cloud9, copying the LPL here in China, but it's worked out for them. So 3-3 means that Cloud9 are either in if SKT beats Edward Gaming, or they battle Edward Gaming as EDG hope to make it their 3-0 run, and they would have to pull a Fnatic, making it 4 straight wins.
They would have to do that, and the fact we've already seen that once during this tournament, it's kind of crazy we might see it again if EDG can actually take down SKT. That's going to be the big one. We'll have to see what happens.
And if it does, it's all 3 LPL teams in the top 8. It'd be beautiful to watch either way. That's going to do it for us here. Now let's hear from Shox and Cloud9's AD carry.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, standing by with Sneaky after a huge match and a huge performance over AHQ. Very much win lane, win game composition coming out of you guys in such an important match. Why the choice for this comp?
Well, Caitlyn's randomly been played by the Chinese teams, mainly World Elite. They played it twice, and then, you know, they just played it against us, and it's like, wow, we can't really do anything. So we decided, you know, maybe we should take it for ourselves, because we did practice it a bit. And, you know, Caitlyn is pretty nerfed in this patch, but it's, for some reason, still works. Like, you can still just push them in, keep them under turret, and then when you do that, like, you just have so much range that you're so safe hitting the turret, and you get the free turret. So it's a huge advantage. Yeah, it's really fun to play, too.
Yeah, I mean, you're very good at it as well, as it showed. Talking about pressure coming into this match, does it bother you, or is it hard to kind of separate the fact that the other NA teams are out, so all the pressure is on you, or how do you try and keep a level head in all that madness?
Normally, it's fine. Actually, last night, I couldn't get as much sleep. I don't know if it was related to that, but I think like when I was trying to sleep, I kept cycling through some like thing I was thinking about earlier in the day with just League. So maybe the pressure got to me from NA losing it all this time. Normally it hasn't really hurt me, but yeah, I mean, it's sad to see the rest of the teams go. I thought TSM would get through. I was kind of questioning Mortals' group because GAM was such a wild card, and yeah, that ended up happening, so.
Well, just to make sure, you know, all hope is on the shoulders of C9, but you guys had a huge victory. You guys look set to take it if EDG lose their next match. And much like last year, you're now waiting on the result of another match. But do you feel poised and confident enough that if it comes to the tiebreaker, you'll be able to beat EDG this time around?
Yeah, I mean, either, you know, take Kate or remove Kate, and the game becomes playable. Like, I actually couldn't even do anything the last time we played. I'm just like, okay, I'm trading, and then there's a Jarvan Galio Caitlyn in my face. So, yeah, I mean, I think that was a pretty big factor in that game. So I hope we can improve our pick Ben and, like, win the game.
Well, we'll see. Congratulations and the best of luck. Maybe you're qualified already. We'll see after the next match. That was with Sneaky, and now back over to you guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shox. C9 have done what they needed to do to guarantee themselves at least a tiebreaker against EDG pending the results of the next game, and they've done it with a complete shift in draft strategy.
And that's the biggest thing, is the adaptation. We finally saw a North American team change things up. Sneaky spoke very highly of the Caitlyn, and he picked himself up this time around.
Yeah, and C9, I think, played very well, and for once the faithful were rewarded here. The flip-floppers can hang their heads in shame. As C9, I think, did lane exceptionally well, and they drafted to the lanes. I think we all agreed once we saw the draft that this was C9's game to lose. And it felt, honestly, AHQ's draft kind of felt reminiscent of some of the stuff that TSM was doing and some of the traps that these other teams were falling into, where it's like, well, if we do get to that late game, we're going to win, but you have to be able to get there. And clearly, AHQ with 3 losing lanes was not able to do so.
And that just... amps the value of the Caitlyn rather for every match that is upcoming, the entire tournament. That pick has likely changed the entire meta for quite some time.
I mean, you heard it from Sneaky there. If they are going to have to play this tiebreaker against EDG, he said either get rid of it or pick it for ourselves, because they don't necessarily see a way to beat it, at least at the moment.
The thing is you can start looking back to old school Caitlyn answers and the likes of the Ashe. Even Jinx has a decent matchup sometimes against Caitlyn. Team WE, Mystic said in an interview yesterday that he really likes Caitlyn right now simply because the Ardent Sensor can compensate for her.
From SKT's side, if they can actually flash engage onto him, there is a QSS that makes it a bit harder to lock him down, but he won't be able to flash away at least, and a lot of damage can follow.
So SKT, their game plan from here continues to look like create this pressure around Cloud9, play off the vision they already have surrounding this team. If they continue to poke on both sides and continue to poke with these fish that Faker is poking out, eventually they burn enough summoners that they can punish.
Keep in mind, you talk about pushing on both sides. One of those sides is the 4,000 gold lead on Huni's Jace right now. He is full build, level 18. He cannot get any stronger. Impact has more than a full item slot to go right now. So as time wears on, some of this gold doesn't matter for the Korean squad anymore. Cloud9 may catch up, but it is SKT with the tempo, looking for the forward attacking. Can't quite get the kills, but it forces the flash of a smoothie.
All right, ulti down now. Bang used it very aggressively, trying to see if they can maybe force C9 away from this turret here. Bot lane inhib, of course, is open, but we have Impact sitting and defending. Is there any blue wards behind SKT that this Maokai could use? Currently, no.
Even at the river.
There's only that one control ward near the Raptor camp, so no good TP location for the Maokai either.
Pushes in, that's going to be a turret dead right there. SK Telecom T1 up 5,000 gold as mid lane tier 2 falls. 8-5 in turrets. 3-0 on Drakes as well, double mountain plus a cloud.
This is an Elder Dragon that's about to spawn on the field for SKT with 2 Mountain Drakes.
Yeah.
They would annihilate this very quickly.
4 times power on the Elder Dragon burn, thanks to the 3 elementals picked up so far. Huni splitting his focus now to the top side, away from the major objective. Red Elixir on turret, gonna fall rapidly. Look at the damage output there, it's gone, and 2 more autos. For now, he's gonna kite back away from Impact.
Cloud9 needs to force a team fight here. There is 30 seconds on Bang's ulti. Few seconds on his flash as well, but again, they need a ward they can use to TP on for Impact so he can leave that lane. Yeah, you might lose an inhib, but you gotta be able to force a 5-on-5 team fight, otherwise you're slowly just going to bleed out every single tower in that top lane.
38-25 is when Bang's ultimate comes back up to cooldown. It's essentially here when the fight comes through. As soon as anyone meets, he's gonna have that ulti right back available.
The problem here is that there is a super minion on a single Nexus turret. That will destroy the Nexus turret itself. C9 have no time. They have to force, and that's why SKT are just delaying them.
We're happy to go back and forth in this one. Top lane Nexus, or sorry, Inhibitor turret could fall as well, as the Maokai is going to have to go back to his own base. As Huni is going to have that available now. It might be a smite by TP in for the Maokai. They want this battle. Cloud9 though. The Elder Dragon resets, and Huni still has free time into the base contract. Pushed back by the Shark. They need to do something in this one.
Huni's going for the finish!
Huni's going to win the game outright. He's on the Nexus already. Cloud9 have botched the macro management. SKT without even a kill at the end of it all. Just going to close it out. The #1 seed for South Korea's SK Telecom T1 has been secured.
And C9 stuck in an almost impossible situation in the end. You have to be able to defend against the Jace, against the super minions, and also take the fight at the Elder Drake. All 3 things at the same time, it was way too much, and obviously it all comes down to SKT getting ahead in this game and putting himself in that situation in the first place.
One of the questions for SKT coming into Worlds was which 6 players were they going to bring? They chose to bring Huni. They didn't even bring his understudy in Untara. It's only that man right there on your screen, the only top laner they have for this tournament. He didn't even play all their games. He was more the understudy to Untara. And his style had been carries more than anything else. His Jace right here, they played around it so well. He had more farm than anyone, more gold than anyone. He single-handedly destroyed the base for SKT and was that killing blow.
So much work put in by SKT, constantly chipping away at summoner spells, keeping up the wards on both sides, the pressure never relenting.
Exactly. We saw a few times where C9 found a fight. Impact able to leave his lane when he got to push towards the river. Not past the river, just to the river. Could then walk up to the mid lane and see if they could find a Baron play or a pick. And they found it a few times. It actually gave them a Baron as well. Sadly for them, whenever they had any sort of advantage, Huni was still in that bot lane or top lane, just pushing, and they could never stop him.
I mean, really amazing tenacity out of SKT right here. They did not have, I would say, as powerful as a team fight composition. Fizz is an assassin, Jace not much of a team fighter himself, and all the gold was on him, and they let him stay in the bot lane. They defended a 4v5 against Baron, down 16,000 gold because the Jace is by himself, and they raced as fast as Huni did.
That's why it's also, we have to keep bringing up how Faker was playing when they got to those team fights where you can't just straight on straight or head to head, run into these guys. Yep. He runs them around in a circle. You're trying to delay time so the DPS actually doesn't get to come out.
And Bang as well. All the damage dealers really constant putting pressure on C9. Like, we had a few times where it looked like, okay, C9's going to push, Bang opens up, and then 3 guys are back in base instantly.
Yeah, hits the squishes, gets them down. Really great play out of SKT. Again, they have secured the #1 seed out of the group, but there is still more to play. But for now, to get more on that SKT win, let's send it down to the analysts.
Thank you, Freak. That one's going to sting for Cloud9 as SKT clinched the first seed in the group with that victory, moving to 4-1. Cloud9 now sitting at 2-3 on the day. Blank, first game of the tournament. Crumbs, what's your assessment?
My assessment is we're all at least 50% right now.
We did it.
All right.
That's a great assessment. But let's start rolling through. Let's talk about how SKT came away with a victory.
Well, the composition was a very different one. Without a tank, they had just basically all about split pushing, but they had so many threats, and instead we're going to...
All right, we're going to start with the final fight of the game. This one brought to you by Acer Predator.
And literally as this was happening, I think all of us sighed and said, oh no, SKT have already won the game here. Yes, Deficio said that it put Cloud9 into the impossible decision, but the thing is 45 seconds to a minute earlier, that's when Cloud9 needed to strike. They needed to group up. They needed to force making a 5v5 when Bang didn't have his flash up and available. As soon as the Elder Dragon spawned, as soon as they had these big super creeps crashing in the top wave, the bot wave, SKT already had all of their cards set up.
Yeah, and it really just felt like SKT was able to outmaneuver them so well. They have this composition where we were talking about this a lot in the game. It's like, okay, who do you have in this game? Everyone's like, well, yeah, SKT is probably going to win. Okay, turn off the nameplates. Who do you have in this game? Well, C9's composition is clearly going to win the game, right? It's one of those situations where SKT is just able to maneuver so well. Faker was able to buy time so well in the team fights on Fizz, and I do think that C9 certainly made some mistakes down the stretch. Impact taking a full-on fight in the bot lane, allowing that solo kill. That was kind of what bought a lot of time for SKT to get flashes back, to set up for the Elder Dragon and kind of force their hand.
And the setup was better wave management, better vision for them that allowed them to just say, hey, we understand what our win condition is. Let's just execute it. And Cloud9, it really felt like they were desperate to try to get a 5-on-5. And particularly when they decided to go force a Baron without any setup, they just said, hey, let's go in here and see if we can just get a party started. They didn't even know Faker was behind them, flanking them, which is the best position for a Fizz.
And while I 100% agree that SKT's setup was gorgeous when it came to kind of like late mid-game, late game, the early mid-game fights were actually kind of lopsided from SKT. We weren't getting the same decisive setup. Bang was sometimes left out of position.
Faker flashes on you. You don't see that very often.
And I mean, even Contracts, he actually jumped the fish onto 3 people from his team, knocking them down very low. And maybe that prompts the dive and the turnaround, but it was very close to going horribly wrong for SKT.
And the thing is again, their composition works so well when they've spread out Cloud9, when they don't get to bunch up and make these big 5v5 plays, because that's what their composition is good at. And SKT just kind of gave it to them a couple of times to make this game a little bit closer than it really needed to be.
I mean, all this tells me SKT, while they secure the first seed, aren't without their faults. And so when you're looking ahead to that game against EDG later, it's really about how clean can you win it if you're going to win it. The way EDG's looking right now, to be able to challenge SKT in the early game, that's scary. Of course, that's the 6th game of the day. Let's talk real briefly about the 5th game of the day between C9 and AHQ. If SKT are to win the 6th game, then the next game determines who gets out of the group. Is it going to be C9 or AHQ? How are these teams matching up, and how are they looking today?
Welcome to the Thunderdome, Cloud9. It's suddenly like a 2-3 group, and that has to feel really nerve-wracking, especially for the performance that AHQ showed, not just against SKT, but they also had some fight in them against EDG.
Yeah, and I think Mountain has actually been really on today. Contracts, looked like he was a bit out of sorts in the early game this time around. It was a very confusing early game, but the Ezreal was not super effective. 0-3-0 for quite a long part of the game. And I think that if Mountain is playing as well as he has been in these earlier games, then C9 is going to have a really tough time.
All righty. Well, anything that C9 can do in terms of, the picks to set themselves up with some of those better tools? Are we moving away from aggressive junglers?
You'll know. Aggressive junglers that can offer more setup for a fight. I like the Rek'Sai a lot out of contracts. Stay away from the Graves, the Ezreal. It's too hard to execute. They got to give themselves something that's a little bit easier to pull off against AHQ.
Ease of execution, that's what we're looking for when we return. C9 and AHQ look to get an edge in the fight for second place as they face off in a monumental clash. We'll also hear from SKT's Wolf, so don't go anywhere.
To keep up with the pressure. Well, bottom side, though.
And he misses the root. Sneaky's got to be careful. He's got to... No, doesn't even get to do anything about it. Barrier was up, but the Contaminate came through first. Blood. Here comes Fizz. He's going to be in range. The Shark is going to land. He's going to chomp down, and Maokai is dead.
I have a stun. Nice. King Lulu. Nice. Good turret. Get turret. Press turret.
Jensen, next opportunity, drives in and grabs the kill. Now on the Faker, but he pops away. He's going to stay alive, but this one big can't quite fall. Yes, one does come through to impact.
힐 남았어. 저거다. 끝. 아, 보자.
Cloud9 has botched the macro management. SKT without even a kill at the end of it all. Just going to close it out. The #1 seed for South Korea's SK Telecom T1 has been secured.
If you want to follow the best of the Rift, then you need T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. We've doubled our coverage, so you can stream Worlds in more places than ever before. With T-Mobile, don't miss a moment from the first battle, all the way to the lifting of the Summoner's Cup. Another reason why T-Mobile is America's best unlimited network.